How do you want to play this? We can go through the whole thing step by step, or let's break this down piece by piece, starting with the big picture. First, we need to find out how much the value jumped on the revaluation date. Your notes show the building was revalued to $1.6 million on June 30th, 20Y8. And the carrying amount at that same date was $1 million. Both of these are given directly in the problem text. So, we start with a revaluation surplus of $600,000. Does that first step make sense? Normally, we'd have to calculate it ourselves, but the problem actually gives us a bit of a shortcut here. In many problems, you take the original cost of $1.25 million and subtract the depreciation over those 10 years to find that number. But here, they flat out tell us the carrying amount is $1 million on June 30th, 20Y8. Since we have that, we can skip the manual depreciation hunt for the first 10 years and go straight to the gain. Ready to look at what happens to that $600,000 gain as time goes on. Now, because the building's value went up, the depreciation expense will also go up. We need to find that extra bit called excess depreciation. We know the gain is $600,000 from our first step. The total life was 50 years, and 10 years passed from 20Y8 to 20Y8, leaving us with 40 years. So every year, $15,000 is transferred out of the surplus. Why do you think we subtract this amount from the surplus each year? Spot on! You nailed it! Your notes use the shortcut of dividing the gain by the remaining life. But let's see if your way gives the same result. It's a great way to double check. Look at that! 40,000 minus 25,000 is exactly $15,000. It's the same number. Use whichever makes more sense to you, but the shortcut from your notes is usually faster if you already have the gain. Shall we finish this off and find the final balance for June 20Y9? Exactly the same thing. Think of it like two different paths to the same house. The way in your notes, taking the $600,000 gain and dividing by 40 years is just a faster way of finding that $15,000 difference. I showed the other way just to prove your intuition was right. Since your notes use the shortcut, we'll stick to that. Ready to see the final balance after 1 year passes? All right, let's wrap this up. We started with the gain, and we just need to account for that 1 year of movement. We are looking for the balance exactly 1 year after the revaluation, from June 20Y8 to June 20Y9. We take the $600,000 gain from step 1 and subtract the $15,000 of excess depreciation for that 1 year. That leaves us with $585,000. Does it make sense why we only subtracted $15,000 once? Exactly. Only 1 year passed from June 20Y8 to June 20Y9. If they had asked for 20Z0, we would have subtracted it twice. Since we nailed that, I've got a few flashcards here for your revision. You've got a great handle on this now. Do you feel confident moving on to the next homework problem? Or should we double? Aha! You've got a sharp eye for detail. This is actually a common way accounting examiners label years to keep them generic. Notice how the first date is 20 times 8 and the revaluation date is 20y8? In these problems, x and y are just placeholders. Think of x as the first decade and y as the next decade. So going from 20 by 8 to 20y8 is exactly 10 years. Then, the final question asks for 20y9, which is just 1 year after the revaluation in 20y8. Does that clear up the timeline confusion? Alright, I've put everything into a master table for you. This shows exactly which formula we used, the math, and where every single number came from in the original question. Does seeing it all laid out like this help connect the dots? Great question. In an exam, they're not going to highlight the clues for you, so you've got to be a detective. Here are the 3 red flags to look for. If you see that phrase about transferring excess depreciation, it's a dead giveaway that the surplus won't stay at the original gain amount. It's going to shrink every year. Does that make it a bit clearer what to hunt for when you first read the prompt?